Are you okay with light there? Yeah. Great. This is the recent one for OAMC down in Connemara.
I see what you mean about that beautiful, overcast, milky light.
Ón Irish Leabhar Vogue go W magazine, is minic mé frí riocht ag Ivona stílacha de chud Perry Ogden. Tá gnéthe de héal na hÉireann fitte futa aige le cuasaí ordáisin a bhealach féin le níos mú ná tríocha bliain.
Sean Lawler and David Wilmot. It's the Mummers from the Druid Theatre. It's about moments, isn't it? It's about trying to capture a split second.
Tá sé ag taspáint Connemara don Domhain, agus bhí mé ag iarra an spéis sin atá aige sa cheantar a phlé leis.
These are some of the Connemara pictures I did in the early 90s of my neighbours. I was just fascinated by the bog and the cutting of the turf. So I did these series of my neighbours. And when Ralph Lauren asked to see some more pictures of mine, this was all I really had that was new. So I made up a little plastic folder of these pictures, sort of 16 by 12 inch prints of these, sent them off, not really thinking any more about it. And he went nuts for the pictures and absolutely loved them. And the next thing I went over there for a meeting, and then I did their campaigns for a while, and it was a very good period. In 1985, I first came to Ireland, spring '85. And, you know, as someone who'd grown up in London, who was living in New York, coming to Ireland felt very raw and free. The countryside compared to England seemed wild. It seemed like a very free place. I loved it, and I loved the light. As a photographer, it had this sort of beautiful, creamy, milky light.
I think you get a real sense of portraiture in your fashion photography. Is that a conscious thing that you do with your style?
You know, I think it's very much down to who you choose, who you cast to be in the photos, to play the roles. You know, more often than not, I try to make some kind of little story. It doesn't have to have a sort of beginning, middle, and end, but it's some kind of a narrative, or it's inspired by something. You know, doing fashion photography, the people are just so important, who you photograph, and that they look as if they've dressed themselves, that they're a character.
It's been important to you to work with figures that are outside of the fashion industry.
You know, it can be great to work with a supermodel if the story is right. So I did a story in Connemara with Helena Christensen one time, and she was the perfect casting, and it was a great story, and she came in by helicopter. It worked out well, but I wouldn't necessarily choose to do that unless it was right. You know, I love to find people. I love the sense of real people. Two Boys Now I shoot with quite a bit, Liam and Paddy, who are settled traveller kids. I don't direct them too much. I try to put them in situations that they feel comfortable in. You know, to me, these two guys look great. They work for the pictures. You know, fashion and style and beauty, it's about a sense of what is beautiful. And we all have a different sense as to what is beautiful. And I don't think we need to be dictated to by, you know, the glossy magazines as to what is beautiful.
The typical image of Ireland that fashion photographers often look at, do you feel like the notion of like romantic Ireland, do you feel like that's a bit tired at this stage?
I think we're always going to have that, and I think that's a good thing. And I think Ireland's always going to be romantic, particularly the west of Ireland. But people are going to interpret it in different ways. And you know, particularly as every generation comes along, they look at things differently and they turn things on their head. I guess the difference for me was that I came as an outsider. And perhaps that gave me, you know, just a very slightly different view on it.